Hall started 13th. So, I mean, for these guys here, yes, they were benefited by the yellow, but look at this, how things turn around.
No pressure.
Top two in the championship, sitting in the top three in this race.
And let's not forget, Graham had the pace in practice.
Sure.
And in qualifying, things were looking good. He came across Sage Karam, as we learned about in the pre-race, felt he was blocked. The officials didn't see that way. That's why he started 13th, and now he's able to exercise the pace that he's had all weekend.
So at this stage of the season, as you can imagine, we already start looking and talking about the next season. With more on that, here's Robin Miller.
Lee, Mark Miles, President and CEO of Homan & Company. We've been pretty tough on him this year, but we want a longer schedule for 2016. Tell us the good news.
Well, I think there is going to be good news, a lot of good news for fans. It'll be or start a little earlier, end a little later, have some new races, and in total, probably a couple more races. We're looking forward to it.
Some races we like Phoenix, Road America, places like that.
You know, it's not done until it's done, but I think there'll be some historic tracks that our fans will love to be back at.
Do you think we'll see traditional places like Laguna Seca maybe back in the mix?
I don't know about Laguna Seca, but you've been talking about a few that are very much in the hunt.
All right, Mark, thanks. More races. That means more work for the NBC staff. We like that.
Stefano Coletti brings his car in for KB Racing Technologies. I tell you what, you got to be careful when you say these things because you don't want to offend anybody or any particular circuit. I am super excited to go back to Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
I can tell you the whole village of Elkhart Lake, which is where I'm residing at the moment, are absolutely abuzz with the thought that they will be back. And you'll see a sort of crowd like you've got here today, too, at Road America. Always has huge crowds.
We'll be setting the stage for you, Diffie, next weekend there, racing sports cars. It's certainly one of my favorite tracks.
Of course, party time will occur. You know where?
The mayor of Elkhart Lake and the man for the people. You pretty much control all of Wisconsin, I believe.
Well, yeah, whole Wisconsin's right under my thumb. Yeah.
Look at this. Ryan Hunter-Reay has not been able to do anything about Sage Karam. Remember when he tried to get Sage when the Ganassi driver just came out of the pit lane heading up to the keyhole turn 2? Couldn't get it done there and has just been jammed behind him ever since.
Well, they both got the red tyres, so it's not like he should be able to dust him off. But like I keep on saying, this place is so difficult.
Well, and it happened for Scott Dixon, who was just bogged down behind Tristan Vautier for many, many laps. He's been able to clear him and run 7th. Time to talk about a Chevy driver update. Where are they running? The Chevy drivers in pretty good positions. Montoya and Newgarden 1 and 2. Power is still very much in the mix. Will Power is on the same pit stop strategy as Joseph Newgarden in second, and is a lap better off than one Pablo Montoya. Don't discount number 1 for Team Penske in the Verizon Chevrolet. So Marco Andretti there trying to make a move on Tristan Vautier for 9th. Couldn't quite get it done. And James Yates is running in a strong 11th position in the background. So it's Montoya, Newgarden, Rahal, Wilson 4th, Power 5th, Pagenaud 6th, Dixon 7th, Castro Neves, Vautier and Andretti. As we go back up front. 1, 2, 3, just like that. It's Team Penske, CFH Racing, and Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing.
And your top 5 right now, all on black tires, and to borrow a term from Mike Hall, I think sort of treading water right now. Just trying to maintain position, save a little fuel so you can short fill on that last stop if at all possible, and get those reds back on and then go for it.
Poor old Charlie Kimball. He's got the pace, as you can see. He's hanging in there with these guys, but of course he is 2 laps down after that first lap spin or second lap spin.
About 10 or 12 more laps, I guess, until our last round of pit stops for these front runners. And let's just have a listen here to Charlie Kimball. And even as far back as Kimball is there, you can start to pick up some dirty air on the front wing. Now, he still is 2 laps down, so you can tell he's hustling. He's got to do anything he can to try to get that lap back. Currently running in 23rd position. Only guy behind him is Sato, also 2 laps down.
And just think about how painful this is for Charlie Kimball. It's a racetrack that he has been victorious at. He is a fierce fighter and racer. And as we break down the points for you, there's 53 points maximum on offer. If you grab the pole, you lead a lap, lead most laps. And one Pablo Montoya, who we told you about earlier in the show, went to Iowa 2 weeks ago, had his first non-finish of the year. He carried a 54-point lead into that race, and unfortunately nobody capitalized on his misfortune. He came away with a 42-point. He only lost 12 points. Here right now, as they stand, we've still got a lot of this race to go, the best part of half of this race, he would grow it to a 58-point lead.
And wouldn't it be fitting for the season that he's had, because it's not as if he's pressed super hard here at Mid-Ohio passing a bunch of cars. He's just stayed out of trouble. He's had quick pace when he's had clean track, great work in the pits, and now he finds himself comfortably in the lead.
Scott Dixon continues to surge forward. He's got more positions done, and he's getting closer and closer to the front. Big picture-wise, how far out of it is he? 7.6 seconds. Now, in comparison to this guy here, Dixon has 4 laps less fuel than Juan Pablo Montoya. Race leader, championship leader, everybody's chasing this guy. But if you want to put pressure on someone and not see them buckle, it's this man. JPM isn't scared of anyone. Weekend live from Watkins Glen on NBCSN, Sunday at 1:30 Eastern. It's the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Coverage actually begins Saturday at 2:30 Eastern with the Xfinity Series. NASCAR is on NBCSN. We welcome you back to Mid-Ohio. Talking Indycar here, talking Juan Pablo Montoya, race leader, points leader. He's got about a second over Joseph Newgarden of CFH Racing. And then Graham Rahal, crowd favourite, second in the championship, sits back third. Let's check in with Kevin Lee. Kev?
Juan Pablo Montoya is now in an excellent position to be able to win this race through in the timing of the yellows. We're watching Brian Campy. He's the engineer, and on the far side of the pit stand is Josh Coley. John Boslog was telling me, we're not surprised that Juan Pablo Montoya is having a championship drive. this season, but this is a new team. Brian Campy came from NASCAR, just took over mid last season, and Josh Coley is new to racing. This is his first year in racing as the data acquisition guy. He's the fuel strategist. He said it's really remarkable, John Boslak did, the strategist, how good this team has been considering it is such a new team.
And look at this, nice move here on the inside. Graham Rahal takes pretty easy and quick care of Rodolfo Gonzalez. And John Boslak is one to be able to comment about that within Team Penske. Myron, as he's affectionately known, I want to say Myron has been with Mr. Penske for about 27 years.
Well, it's certainly something that Team Penske's been known for is consistency of personnel. There's guys that have worked in that dealership group for 40-plus years, the race team for 30-plus years. He takes great care of his people, and they take great care of him with good results.
I tell you something that's pretty nice today is that Roger Penske has 2 of his grandchildren here. And they're all dressed up in team colors, and they look terrific. I met young Carter and Luke, both on the timing stand for warm-up this morning. Hockey players from Connecticut, but they seem to have an eye for racing as well. That's the gap. It's not much. 1 second between first and second, and Rahal is all over Joseph Newgarden. Where was the man who sat on the pole and dominated the early phase of this race? Scott Dixon is about 7 seconds back from the car you see on the far left. On board with Dixon. Is it possible? And Lee just in front of Scott Dixon, the 22 of Simon Pagenaud. Teammates to Juan Pablo Montoya, and this is what we talked about earlier. The ability for Penske with a 4-car team and this guy who's not in the championship race, Pagenaud can sort of maintain the pace, and he'll know I can do everything I can to make Dixon try to use up his tires, David, but I'm not going to let him pass.
This is the exact scenario that we were talking about right at the top of the show. Pagenaud, I mean, this is absolutely perfect place just in front of Dixon. Set the pace, and as we've already said, how difficult it is to overtake here, and he can just push Dixon further and further back if he so wishes. Oh, and guess who is in front of Simon Pagenaud? Another Penske car in Will Power. So there is a roadblock ahead of the Target Chip Ganassi Chevrolet. Roger Power is not probably going to be giving too much help because he feels he's got a chance for the championship as well. But of course, if Montoya wins this race, that's pretty much shot. And this is where it gets a little tricky for Pagenaud, is that he can't go so slow as Gonzalez because that'll allow Dixon to get by. Yeah. So Pagenaud actually needs to make quick work here. He might do it coming to turn 2. Let's see if he pops out. Oh, and that's Gonzalez not making life easy at all. His teammate at Dale Coyne Racing is Tristan Vautier. Watch. And he'll have to go 29 laps, guys, on fuel. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to do that. He'll have to run very lean to make it to the end.
And Townsend, I agree. With 29 laps, you can certainly do that, but you can't go, as they say, full gas. But you take the opportunity by pitting now. If there's a caution, but now there's a problem on the right rear. That slows his pit stop, unfortunately, but they're playing with an 8-second pit stop here, hoping if there happens to be a caution before the leader's pit, that's the way you get the advantage.
Luca Filippi, the remainder of the race, has not gone the way that he would hope. Certainly hasn't gone the way that it started. Back up front, and that fight between Pagenaud trying to get past Gonzalez, who was not making life easy. That's what 1, 2, 3, 4 looks like. Justin Wilson at the top of your frame. And then we're keeping a watchful eye. There's quite a distance between Will Power and Simon Pagenaud. We ride with the third-place man.
Who is definitely quicker than Joseph Newgarden in front of him.
Great job.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it stays green like this last pit stop is going to be amazing in terms of out and in-lap pace. Be so critical, especially on your out lap. If you're one of the first to stop in this line.
Oh, Joseph Newgarden with his hands full there, coming out, over and down into Thunder Valley. This has been an interesting stint from these guys on the primary black Firestone tires, getting ready for their final stint. And I wonder if anybody in the top 4 here, top 5, is going to take a chance and be the first to stop and maybe just try to have to run a little bit lean and try to get the track position and defend. The old saying, you want to be that first to stop, to get it home, first of the front runners to stop. But who's going to blink first?
Well, we know that the Penske guys are going to have some of the best stops. And as I said, if you got a tenth of a second between these cars, and you lose 2 seconds in a pit stop, it takes you 20 laps to get it back.
Looks like Sato's picked up another issue there. His left rear wheel pod askew. I'm not sure if that's for contact. He comes to pit lane to get that fixed.
That's aerodynamically unsound.
Takuma Sato has had a tough day, not the kind of day you want when it's your 100th start. You could even tell just by the crew body language there. He was on pit road for a long time.
We're out of parts.
And they don't have any rear wing left.
Yes, you heard Larry Foyt say we're out of parts. Of course, they had that damage early on. It took a long time to repair it. And boy, not the day he was looking for. And Scott Dixon's laid out.
All right, the master at saving fuel is the first of the top 7 to come into pit.
Scott Dixon making what should be his final stop. He's going to go to scuffed alternate Firestones. Sunoco fuel. He's going to need some help, and he's going to need some really quick times and clean track. Let's see where he cycles back in.
When he raced from last to first last year and saved fuel doing it, as Ryan Hunter-Reay dives to his box, he mystified people. We'll see if he can do it again.
And you talk about Chevrolet for Dixon. Of course, this is a Honda for Ryan Hunter-Reay, and he goes right alongside Gabby Chavez. Says he's clear out again. These are those that want to be the first, as you said, Lee, to make the last stop.
Well, and the risk now for Montoya, Newgarden, Rahal is if a yellow falls, Dixon's right back in the game. But it has to happen in the next lap or two.
Exactly. If you weren't with us a little earlier, Scott Dixon was dominating this race, and a yellow came just when the man on screen, Juan Pablo Montoya, stopped, and it was to the disadvantage of Dixon. Katie?
Justin Wilson led his first laps of 2015 on that last stint. They're going to go for reds for this last stint to get as much grip as possible. Lee?
Justin Wilson has had quite the day in the Andretti Autosport Honda. Will it be converted into a result that pays some big points? Tony Kanaan's time to stop for the final time.
Tony Kanaan has 1 sticker tire, 1 sticker alternate. You're allowed to replace one if one's damaged. The rest are scuffed reds. For Tony Kanaan making his final stop of the day, and he, like Dixon, is going to hope for a yellow very soon. That's the only way he's going to get back up to the front.
A little bit of an issue there for Tony Kanaan on the right rear. You could see that the fuel was done before the right rear was finished. And David, it puts such a tremendous amount of pressure on the guys on pit lane. The wheel nuts, any movement. As Sage Karam spins. Sage Karam backwards in turn 5, full course yellow, as Rahal's on pit lane.
The rookie facing the wrong direction, and Graham Rahal beat the pit closed in.
But Montoya didn't.
Clear out, yeah, go.
Could be a major turning point.
We gotta push.
Major turning point in the complexion of this race.
Wow. What an incredible piece of luck.
Well, the skid marks tell part of the story there for Sage Karam. How did he get in that position, though?
All right, nice job. You're into the blend line. Nice job. Full course yellow. Save all the fuel you can. Big safe.
So a huge gain for Scott Dixon. And coincidence, guys, that it's his teammate that spins.
And a massive turn for this guy too, Graham Rahal. So the whole Matro safety crew quickly there for our third full course caution to rescue Sage Karam. Never really been in the hunt or the fight today, Sage, for a significant position. Keep in mind, coming off his very first IndyCar Series podium in Iowa 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Wow, this is going to be neat.
So Townsend Bell's devious mind is already...
Listen, I just said coincidence. I didn't say anything.
You didn't say anything.
It's not a deviant ounce in my body.
Massive day for Graham Rahal. His home state, his love for The Ohio State University, proudly on display with his gloves and his helmet. And the two guys we've just shown from Graham Rahal to Sage
Everybody
Karam.
in front of you has to pit. You don't. You're the leader effectively when this thing goes green. Wilson's behind you. Pagenaud and Briscoe. Save me all the fuel you can. Save me all the fuel you can.
Graham Rahal getting the picture a little clearer, saying everybody ahead of you must stop. Yeah, just getting back to the Rahal Sage Karam thing. Those two guys had some harsh words to say to each other yesterday after qualifying.
Well, Graham felt strongly, and I think for good reason, that Karam held him up during his qualifying run. Sage defended himself, said, hey, I went off track. I was trying to protect my car. And that's Sage Karam coming in for his last stop. Now let's see Graham Rahal here as we watch for the pit close light. I think is going to be right there. And he's already committed to pit lane at this point. And he was good. I don't see any light there, so he should be clear to pit lane. A very, very lucky break for Graham Rahal.
That's what we were talking about a little earlier. Qualifying yesterday.
And there's Sage limping back to the pits, but he's right on the racing line through the left-hander. He leaves the right-hander open, but that was, I don't know, got to be 4/10, half a second to Graham Rahal's quick lap, and that put Graham well down in the field. But he has it back now, thanks to Sage Karam.
Stopped Rahal advancing to the next group. All right, the top runners are in. Montoya, Newgarden, and Power, they all come. Castro Neves. It's busy on pit lane.
Joseph Newgarden does not have to worry about Will Power this time. So far, everything's smooth. They give him some wing, and he's underway at the same time as Will Power. Kevin?
The timing of the yellow taken and it given. This time it took it from Juan Pablo Montoya. He beats everybody up pit road. Will Power second, Newgarden third. But I think they're only going to cycle in around 11th or so in this race with Rahal. He should be taking over the lead.
Indeed, he does. So, too, up there in a
That didn't help us there.
very good position is Justin Wilson, Simon Pagenaud, Scott Dixon.
And how hard is it going to be for Dixon to get around Pagenaud on this restart?
Very, very difficult.
It'll be like a brick wall.
And with that, guys, Montoya's lead as it stands now is only 11 points. If they finish in this order, Graham Rahal only 11 points out of the championship lead.
From 42 today. Things are to change in the closing stanza of this race, but that's how it sets up, that's for sure.
Yes, and you know what's so interesting is as soon as Townsend said, since Scott Dixon has pitted, it's only a few laps. If there's a caution, it's going to make a big difference. I think, Townsend, that the Rahal team was listening to you. They knew they needed to stop, and it was the perfect timing. Juan Pablo Montoya is thinking, wow, I thought I had this one in the bag, but Mid-Ohio still has some laps to run. And Graham Rahal in the catbird seat.
That is just one of the super places to watch here at Mid-Ohio as we welcome you back to the Indy 200. Watching them come down the back straight into turn 4 and then climb the hill into 5, and where madness begins, heading down to 6. What a dramatic turn for Ohio native Graham Rahal. Championship contender, pitted at the right time, and this was the reason for that most recent yellow. Sage Karam.
So kind of an awkward spin there, David. I mean, he hits the apex curb, which is pretty rare at this track, that hard, and then seemed like he gave it a footful of throttle, but nonetheless, we're getting ready for a restart.
Now then, Graham Rahal's got to watch out he's not overtaken by Justin Wilson here, who's driving for, of course, the Andretti team. Has absolutely nothing to lose.
Ready to go. Is this the restart that's going to give Graham Rahal a chance at winning this race and perhaps this championship? Look further back. Here comes Pagenaud. Simon Pagenaud wanted that inside line. Justin Wilson will go around. Dixon in the mix there.
Now this is where you got to keep cool. Very, very cool. Graham Rahal's got to really keep cool here. Well, all pouring into turn 6.
And that was Gabby Chavez, I think, pushed off wide. Let's see if he stayed on track. He did, and there goes Philippi. There goes Munoz.
They're all trying to muscle their way through, and in the mix of it is the points leader, Juan Pablo Montoya.
Boy, trying to keep out of trouble here. The last thing he wants to do is DNF. Get taken off at this stage.
It was suspension failure in Iowa that sent him crashing into the wall. And after being in such a prominent position early on, yes, he was gifted something. Right time, right place after that pit stop from the early yellow. Now JPM really has to grind and work it.
And just watching the hands from Juan Pablo Montoya, I don't see a guy that's pressing hard, David. To your point, I think he's just trying to survive. Finish the race, get the points. Don't put the car at risk.
He is not going to do any silly moves here. If he can get by people, he will, but he's not going to push the issue. I'm amazed that they got away with that restart, because so much is at stake now for these guys.
Well, you saw how hard Simon Pagenaud was pushing to make some moves, and he knows if he can get ahead of Graham Rahal, that's going to help Montoya's points advantage. Right now, Graham Rahal would only be 10 points back. That's Kimball's off.
Kimball and Coletti, and there was a coin car involved in that as well. No yellow, cars keep rolling. Poor old Charlie Kimball has been in the thick of it today. This replay is going to tell us more.
On board with Charlie Kimball. And that's Briscoe. Goes to the outside of Briscoe. They're going to touch here.
That was a pretty severe clout.
And Coletti just had to take evasive action to go through the grass and avoid the contact. On board with Briscoe.
Well, Briscoe was over. He couldn't get over any further. His right wheels were already on the curb, so he couldn't make any more room, really. These last 19 laps are going to be pretty fraught.
Here we go.
And how about this? The Ohio boy pulling away at his home track and closing the lead in the championship down to 10 points again as they run right now. And look at this. We've got push to pass, we think. We think Graham's out of push to pass, and we know Wilson's got some left. We just don't know how many.
But I tell you what, Graham Rahal on that last stint, he was obviously quicker than Joseph Newgarden, who was in front of him, and I think his car is handling really well at the moment. He is just pulling away.
Scott Dixon hasn't been able to do anything about it.
You know what to do.
Simon Pagenaud there in that third spot. Justin Wilson is just cruising, doing a beautiful job in second. Speaking about our race leader, Graham Rahal, and the Rahal family, his famous father, Bobby, I want to tell you about a really good cause. Every year here, now this was the 4th annual, in Columbus, Ohio, they have the Rally at the Ranch. They honor different drivers each year. This year it was Bobby Unser. But what happens is it's a charity deal where they benefit the Buckeye Ranch and its program, which helps youths and families with mental and behavioral and substance abuse issues. They raised over $300,000. So congratulations, Bobby, Graham, everybody involved for such a worthy cause. Quick reminder about Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes. No purchase is necessary. Just go to shophonda.com and you could be in the mix to start a Verizon Indycar Series race and perhaps even share that 2-seater with legends like Mario Andretti.
And what a great day it would be for Honda in the Honda 200 at Mid-Ohio here, where they've got such a huge amount of manufacturing capacity in Ohio. How sweet it would be for them to come first and second.
Yeah.
racing lap 74 of 90. Graham Rahal came out straight away before this weekend and said, we need another win. We need another win, Robin Miller, if I'm going to win this championship. Well, we've got just over 15 laps to go, and it's looking pretty sweet at the moment.
Well, think about this. You and I were talking yesterday, Lee. Think about how Chevrolet has dominated this season, practice and qualifying sessions. It was something like 55-5 a couple races ago. If Honda would somehow steal this championship, I mean, I think there'd be mass suicides in Detroit.
Well, the president of Honda Performance Development, Art Sincere, is here this weekend, along with a lot of HPD and Honda personnel.
The president of Honda USA is here.
Yeah,
John Mendel.
They just say they feel that they've been able to get, they being Honda and HPD, have been able to get back on track when Indycar has... Whoa, Coletti is off again. Comes back onto the track, airborne, and almost hits Rodolfo Gonzalez.
That was close.
Now that's where he went off a couple of laps ago, taking evasive action, trying to avoid hitting this guy, Charlie Kimball. That looked wild. What happened? Gonzalez on the left of your screen, on the inside line down into 4.
I didn't see the start, but the finish would make Tony Hawk proud. Here's Coletti going side by side, gets pushed off at the exit. He's going to drift the thing through the grass. Beautiful catch here. And really, no harm, no foul. Maybe lost a car length.
He's saying all the way through there, I think I got it, I think I got it, oh, I have got it, yeah, oh, good. Excellent.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. And that section at Mid-Ohio is so unique as Coletti now gets the position on Gonzalez.
A couple of former GP2 competitors.
Yeah.
And he's able to dispose of him.
That last pit stop go round, that caution.
And look at Marco Andretti.
Marco and Montoya.
Whoa.
Andretti on the inside, the points leader on the outside, and he has to yield. He has to let Marco go through.
And I think the whole field knows with Montoya right now,
yeah, he's not going to fight back.
He is not going to fight. And how about Marco Andretti's completed every single lap available from this season?
And look who's lining up for a shot now. Newgarden wants Montoya. Power wants his teammate as well.
Yes, and they're all lining up. You watched Joseph Newgarden, but when you saw Marco Andretti, we haven't seen him much today. He said that his car is the best he's had all year as it rolled off the transporter. And that goes along with that point you're talking about with Honda. This is a smooth racetrack. They've been working on the aero kits, and they're obviously, the way the positions have come out today, pit strategy has helped, but also they're back in the game as far as speed.
And Graham Rahal can thank Marco Andretti because now, as they finish, it's a 9-point lead for Montoya. So the championship swing this race has gone from potentially 58-point lead to now only a 9-point lead. Check out this cat, your Chevy driver profile, Will Power, hitting the drums.
Multi-talented, enjoys that very much. I mean, he comes from a very intriguing family in Toowoomba, Australia. A lot of you may have seen the stuff on YouTube. Some of you may have seen him live. His brother is a stand-up comedian who is very dry, drier than Will, but very, very funny.
Well, Will's pretty dry.
You ride with everybody else from the state of Ohio aboard this number 15 Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, Steak and Shake Honda. Graham Rahal, the local lad. Can he do it at home? Well, there's so many great stories in sport about multi-generation families and their sporting accomplishments, and the Rahal family is that. 30 years ago, Bobby Rahal, victorious here at Mid-Ohio, driving for Jim Truman. And that is Graham, the current race leader, Bobby's son, and Debbie's son, holding Graham's booties that he used to wear, that she would put on him when they would come here to watch Bobby race. So now, if you are unfamiliar with the story of this year, or one of the stories within the Rahal Letterman Lanigan camp, is Bobby Rahal said, I'm going to take myself off the radio. I'm not going to be on the timing stand anymore. You know, maybe that might be one of the things that's not working here with my son. So I'm going to let somebody else take care of that, and I'm just going to enjoy watching the race. I'll be in the stands, I might be on top of the grandstand in the spotters, I might go out on a corner at a road course, and that's where Bobby is here today. He's not anywhere near his own team in pit lane. He's just watching.
The results have been so good, Lee, that at this point you have to think it's superstition. He's going to stay there, and let's not forget that NBC's feature at New Orleans with the Voodoo with Graham Rahal. Ever since then, things have been on a tear.
Whoa,
Kimball again.
Is this going to be a late race yellow, or can Charlie get it going?
Oh, God, now
10 laps to go. Is Kimball out of power?
And he's out of power. He's given the signal. I need to get a start here in the
caution.
Oh, my gosh. Talk about it's not over till it's over.
10 to go. It's the last thing Rahal needed. He had more than 3 seconds advantage over Justin Wilson. What's happened here to Charlie Kimball? Coming up on one of the coin cars. And it's Gonzalez.
And that is the exact same situation that Kimball had earlier with, was it Coletti? No,
Briscoe.
Thank you. And I'm afraid that Charlie just needs to give a little bit more room. It's plenty wide to run too wide there.
I think Gonzalez moved over a little bit to start with. Then he'd moved back, but it was too late.
Well, he's at the apex, so he's on the natural line, I guess.
There's little you can do about it.
Now, it's the second full course caution from a Ganassi car. We understand the previous incident with the number 8 is under review after the race.
Yeah, race control and the race director and Indycar will look at the Sage Karam situation. Meanwhile, one of his teammates, Charlie Kimball, back going again. Quick break and back to finish this off. Setting up for a fascinating and exciting run to the checkered flag here at Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio. And we were just telling you the story about Bobby Rahal, his son here on camera, Graham Rahal, and how Bobby doesn't stand on the timing stand anymore. Well, when you're the team owner, you still get to have a radio wherever you are around the course. Have a listen.
Dad, don't worry about giving me updates unless someone's there.
Copy. I copy.
Car's just now coming to me. Get better every lap.
In short, I got this, Dad.
Well, I think that what's going on is that they're using Bobby as a spotter.
Right.
But only on an as-needed basis. So I think Bobby's gotten a little too excited, started giving gaps and things like that to second place. And Graham's like, hey, if somebody's there, that's all I want to hear.
Look at the crowd. Look at the acknowledgement. And if Rahal can pull this off, a Rahal winning at Mid-Ohio. It's just meant to be.
Oh my gosh! I mean, poor old Debbie. She was wringing the life out of those shoes before.
And then further back in the field, let's not forget that you've got Montoya, who has to protect against another restart. And if he loses more positions, David, this championship is right back, almost dead even.
And he's got Newgarden behind him, who will certainly be trying hard. And right behind,
Will Power.
Yeah.
Who's not giving Montoya any favors on championship points.
Reason for this most recent caution. Charlie Kimball colliding with Rodolfo Gonzalez down at turn 4. So it is the 4th full course yellow. 4 cautions for 15 laps in this race. A race where Graham Rahal started 13th. Wasn't in the mix early on. An early yellow aided him to get to the front, in addition to Juan Pablo Montoya. However, it was a significant call from the team to pit at the right time, and yes, perhaps a lucky time, with the 3rd yellow that put him in the lead of this race.
Here's the points as they run, and another thing to keep in mind here, Wilson has 2 push-to-passes left, and you can see him. The green light is blinking on his roll hoop.
Ready to go, racing to the finish here at Mid-Ohio. Is Justin Wilson going to spoil the party? He goes out wide, it's 2 Hondas, and Wilson takes the lead momentarily. Rahal hangs tough. Fights back, up and over the hill at turn 5. Rahal leads to the roar of the crowd.
And Graham Rahal staying true to his word. We need to win another race this season to have a chance in the championship, and he is on his way right now.
And Justin Wilson there had the push to pass to get by him, but he didn't make life difficult for Graham Rahal at all, because he's been brought in by Honda to help Honda, which he has done obviously quite a lot, but he's not going to really screw the party up by taking the lead driver out.
Well, you know what it's like, David. You get to the brake zone there, side by side. Yeah. It's a game of bravery.
Focus forward, 6 laps to go.
And I think Graham Rahal said to himself, there is no way you're out-braking me for the win at my home track.
And there's no way you're going to go around the outside of me. And I think Justin Wilson realized that too, because at that point, Rahal could easily just ease him off.
On that first flying lap, Rahal put almost a second on Justin Wilson from turn 4.
Wow. Look at that gap grow.
Well, he was picking up nearly a second. I mean, when they had the caution came out, he was nearly 5 seconds in front.
On a day yesterday where Honda was locked out of the Firestone Fast 6 in qualifying, Chevrolet's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's Honda 1 and 2 at the moment. Here's the restart.
So you can see the green PP flash and push to pass active on Justin Wilson. Graham Rahal had used all of his, but it was all about the brake zone.
And credit to Justin Wilson for racing fair and racing classy.
Oh, absolutely.
He didn't try and move over and squeeze on Rahal. That was 2 very professional drivers paying each other respect.
And Graham didn't panic and didn't overdo it, didn't outbrake himself, or they both kept their heads. That was a bit of good driving by both those guys.
And I think Graham Rahal has done that better than anybody this season, racing tight and close without ever having contact, it seems.
Boy, what a year. He got his 2nd victory, career victory, earlier this year at Auto Club Speedway Fontana, underneath some controversial circumstances because he wasn't penalized for a pit lane infringement. In the end, maybe it didn't happen because he had such a strong car that it didn't matter.
Do not talk to the finish, says Graham Rahal. I don't blame him, David. I'm leading. I've got a 2-second lead as Wilson goes wide there.
Boy, locked up there, left a bit of smoke, which gave Pagino a chance to bounce, but Not quite close enough.
Following on from Ray Hall's victory in Fontana, he's just been piecing together solid results. Was part of that amazing American quartet 2 weeks ago in Iowa at the Iowa Speedway. This is the year that Graham Rahal will remember forever. He's getting married later this year to Courtney Force, daughter of John Force, an NHRA star in her own right. What a year 2015 has been. And you know what? He's got those Buckeye stickers on his helmet, 18 of them representing his 18 IndyCar podiums. Today is the 18th IndyCar start for his father's team.
And that last lap, 1.5 seconds faster than anybody in the field. Graham Rahal, goodbye, I'm out of here.
Well, he said to his dad, didn't he? The car's coming back, it's getting better every lap, and it certainly looks like it.
4 to go.
Where's Montoya? Newgarden failed to capitalize on Montoya on that start.
4 laps to go, 3.5 really. Just want to clarify the point. 18th start at Mid-Ohio. Beg your pardon, I didn't finish off that point. So points as they run now in the closing laps. Montoya would lose 32 points today from a 42-point advantage to 10 if Rahal stays in the lead and wins this race. With 2 weekends remaining, Pocono and Sonoma.
And double points.
And don't forget who won the last big oval race at Fontana, as you said, Lee, Graham Rahal. So he's going to go to Pocono full of confidence if he can hang on here.
He's out 3 seconds over Justin Wilson.
And I just can't get over the fact that Graham's previous best finish 5th.
Yeah,
at Mid-Ohio.
I'll tell you what, he went around that turn 2 then beautifully. He was right on the inside curb, which is what you need to rotate the car, but it's so difficult to keep it there. But his car is handling really, really well at the moment.
If you're wondering where our championship leader is, Juan Pablo Montoya is 12th. Look at the crowd loving seeing this steak and shake machine for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan out in front in Ohio. For Scott Dixon, Mr. Mid-Ohio was the victim of a yellow coming at the wrong time. He runs 4th. He's about 5 seconds behind Graham Rahal. The order is Rahal, Wilson, Pagenaud. Pagenaud, boy, that podium will bring some relief if he can hang in there for these closing 2.5 laps. Dixon is 4th, Kanaan 5th. Tristan Vautier will give Dale Coyne a top 10 if he stays where he is. That's an outstanding result. Luca Filippi in 7th, Hunter-Reay 8th, Hawksworth and Munoz. After a disappointing start to the weekend, if Carlos Munoz can drive to 10th for Andretti Autosport, that'll be some relief for him as well.
That'll be a great result for Filippi and for Hawksworth too.
For Joseph Newgarden, who was very much in the mix earlier in this race, he's down in 14th position. Will Power in 15th. Elio Castro Neves 16th.
And Bourdais, Sebastian Bourdais, who made such a fantastic start, qualified on the second row, he's down in 16th.
Just the way that these yellows have fallen today, Townsend, have really... You've either been the lottery winner or you've lost your job. It's been unfortunate.
Well, we said it at the start, but Graham Rahal capitalized on the opportunity, and I think more than anything, what he's going to love about this final stint is his ability to demonstrate to everybody, hey, I was fast enough all along, and I deserve to be here. And much like the result at Fontana, you could argue several things, but you can't argue his pace as the white flag comes out for Graham Rahal.
1 lap to go. 2.2 miles for the 26-year-old American Graham Rahal. His dad won here 30 years ago. You remember calling David Donahue across the line at the Rolex 24 at Daytona 30 years after his late father Mark won. It means so much. And I remember here, not so long ago, a couple of years ago, Bobby saying, do you know what? Everyone always calls Graham a second-generation racer. He said, you know, my dad raced. Graham is a third-generation racer. It is in the Rahal family blood. But this young man is a sports guy. He's not just a car guy. He loves football. He loves The Ohio State University. He's a terrific golfer. He's an all-round sportsman. He's an all-round athlete. But today could be the most memorable day in his life. A Rahal wins at Mid-Ohio. It's Graham's turn.
That's it.
Graham Rahal victorious at his home track. It tightens the championship up because Montoya is in a traffic jam. He comes across the line in 11th position. It's a day that belongs to Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing and the Rahal family.
Boy, what a result. Just absolutely storybook. Well done, Graham. You really deserve that. Mum can now relax.
Graham, big save, please, big save. You gotta save that motor. We need it.
Save that motor. No donuts.
Don't do anything crazy.
And tremendous pride on the faces of that whole Rahal team, and they deserve it. A one-car team going against the big boys.
Kev?
Graham's mom, Debbie Rahal, is celebrating. Just a hug for the engineer, Eddie Jones. She went over to talk to Rico Dahl. And this is the first time you've seen Graham win in an Indycar, Debbie.
It is. I was in Greece with my youngest daughter when he won in St. Pete. And then I wasn't at Fontana because I was taking care of all my grandchildren. 3 of them. But yes, it's very exciting. I'm very happy for him.
We didn't want to jinx you and talk to you during the race. We waited until he took the checkers. What is this feeling like? You know what this means to Graham.
I think particularly because there has been so much press this week and so much excitement, and I've never seen so many people here, so it's a great crowd to cheer him on, but it means a lot. It's a hometown race, and for Bobby it was always very special, and I know for Graham it is.
Go meet your son at Victory Lane. Congratulations. Debbie Rahal, they're celebrating at home with Graham.
He was asked to look after the motor, but I'm not sure he is.
Well, I don't know how you contain the enthusiasm in a situation like this. He deserves to light up some rubber. Why not? Let it go.
Between his first and second victories, he had to wait something like 135 races. Now he's got 2 wins in a matter of a handful of races.
And how about this, guys? 4 American wins in the last 5 races. There's something going on in this IndyCar series.
A little bit of a renaissance period for Americans in IndyCar. And the majority of them are young. Exciting times in the Verizon IndyCar series. Graham Rahal, this is the stuff you dream about. You wish for it, you hope for it to happen, you dream about it happening. Well, Graham, it's no longer a dream. You've done it.
Boy, he's closing in on that championship now. Just a couple of races to go at only 10 points. But it's still going to be very, very tough. Montoya, the current leader, he'll be ruining the day. Looked like he had it made in the lead. And then the pit stop sequence just went wrong.
The hand language there suggests that the team is talking about the Sage Karam spin.
And guess what? On the very last lap, Rahal took the most laps led and got an extra point. So that gap now goes to 9 points on the very last lap. He led 23 laps versus Scott Dixon's 22 and gets that bonus point, bringing it to a single-digit lead. Montoya, the pressure is on going to those last 2 races. Now this is going to be quite the celebration. Watch for this. Watch for this. Storybook stuff. The hometown kid winning at the local track for this huge Ohio crowd. Nice work. Nice work. Graham Rahal with the Ohio State gloves and helmet. He's done it for the Buckeye State. And there's Bobby.
Graham Rahal wins at his hometown, takes a drink of a Steak and Shake milkshake, and he's able to add another Buckeye sticker to that Ohio State helmet. Graham, it was such an organic moment as Graham drove around the track to this hometown crowd. We're going to give him a minute just to take a sip of that Steak and Shake milkshake and get cooled down after that amazing run. Graham, as you drove around the Mid-Ohio track here and you saw all those fans giving you a standing ovation, what were you thinking?
I mean, honestly, for me, other than the Indy 500, this is the biggest race of the year for me. And so, you know, to get Steak and Shake and this team of victory here at home, I mean, in a time when we really needed it, you know, on points. And Man, what a day. I don't know what to say. I mean, I can't thank all the fans. The crowd today was absolutely unbelievable. Hometown crowd was amazing. I appreciate the support so much. And like I said, for Steak and Shake, Maxim, DA Lubricants, Fight SMA, everybody's been a part of this team this year. This is absolutely unreal for me.
And, of course, a very tough day in the office for
Speaking
Juan Pablo.
of support, your mom just saw your very first IndyCar win. Your dad was also here today. What does it mean to have both of them here today?
Yeah, it was pretty cool that, to have both of them here. Obviously, the only person we're missing is Courtney, but it's, I got my little sister, my oldest sister, my brother. Everybody's here, so it's pretty cool for us. I mean, all of us were brats running around this place for so many years, terrorizing this paddock, and at Mid-Ohio, so to get a win here, I mean, honestly, this means more than anything else. Means more than my first win to me. This is the best day.
And now just 9 points behind Juan Montoya. How does that change your strategy for the last 2 races?
9? Awesome. Yeah, feel pretty good now.
All right, Graham Rahal said he had to win today, and he did, Lee.
And there's his mum. There's his mum, Debbie. Think about everything a mother goes through with their children, and for Debbie to see her son's first IndyCar win, or her first time being there for what is now his 3rd IndyCar win. Dad Bobby on the other side. What a day for the Rahal family. Unbelievable. Look at that. The local papers will be full of that young American tomorrow.
Yeah, the headlines in the Columbus papers tomorrow are going to be very, very exciting for him. And as he said, other than the Indy 500, this is the race he would like to win most of all. And a huge crowd did turn out today. Did they all come to see him? Probably not, but there's still in all a massive turnout here at Mid-Ohio.
All right, let's hear from Juan Montoya. Jan's there.
And, boy, you talk about the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Unfortunately for Juan Pablo Montoya, he clears as Castro Neves cars come through. You were on the good end of the pit stop strategy originally. You went to the front, but then that timing in the end for that strategy just burned you.
Yeah, I mean, when everybody else pitted, they had to say field from that point, or it was hard for them to make it without a caution. And, it's kind of weird that all the Ganassi cars pitted on stage all of a sudden spin. So it's what it is. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but I heard the spin was really dodgy. So that's what it is.
So you think there's some foul play there?
Karma's a bitch, so we'll see.
Well, we know that's under review, and I know the Penske team wants to see this data. Very unhappy, Juan Pablo Montoya.
An extremely unhappy Montoya. Body language there, everything.
Well, the walls are closing in on Juan Montoya. Single-digit lead. He started the day with a 42-point lead. That guy there changed the complexion of this championship dramatically. The lead is now just 9 as we head to Pocono in a couple of weeks' time. An oval and a road course to go to determine who will be the 2015 Verizon IndyCar Series champion. Could it be young American Graham Rahal up against the veteran Juan Pablo Montoya? You're watching CNBC.